we're going to bring a message back.
Yeah, Dr. Ross said.
You're all being
About sexuality. And they might see something like that
And then what in another, like in the inner city, there's a difference.
The only thing these two 11-year-olds...
once they have a marriage. Thank you, Pastor.
It was a struggle.
I'm really close because really, though we are...
Yes, Bishop.
Most people don't realize just how much...
You're in college.
Across Christian, Islamic, and the Jewish communities recognizing one God. All the hands raised. All right. We're taking a message, speaking truth, but you have... Absolutely. Great job. Thank you, Reverend. Thank you. Here, we are moving quickly to our next speaker. Her name is Kathleen Lalonde, and she graduated from Everest College at the University of Windsor with a diploma in health, fitness, and nutrition consulting. She currently works as a fitness instructor and personal trainer for Lifestyles Family Fitness in Windsor, Ontario. After high school, she attended a 3-year leadership training program in New York City called the Special Task Force. As a youth leader in this program, she hosted and lectured several programs on the topic of moral and ethical behavior for young people. Kathy also helped to organize local youth service projects in the New York area. And recently, Kathy was married. She's a newlywed of 3 months. Another perspective on marriage and the preparation for. And when I asked her how long she'd been married, she smiled real big and said 3 months. So once she's all set, let's give Kathy a big round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is Kathy, 25 years old, and currently working as a personal trainer, fitness instructor in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So I'm an alien here in your country today. But above all, I'm a child of God. I'm a daughter to my wonderful parents, and now a wife to my husband of 3 months. What I would like to touch on today is actually building up on Dr. Phillips' idea of this safety net for preparation for marriage. And I'm blown away by this concept of mentoring for couples, because it's something that I'm resonating with, because, you know, I do have young couples within my own circles of friends, and after already 2 or 3 years, they're already having a tough time within their own marriage and their own relationship. And yet they really have nowhere to turn to, and sometimes they can't really exactly turn to their parents, because the parents are also trying to figure their own marriage out together. So before we start off, I'd like to read a passage from the Bible, Matthew 19, verse 4 to 6, where it reads, "And he answered and said to them, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. And therefore what God has joined together, let not man separate." So the power of marriage is truly a divine concept that God has given to us to really value and cherish, and to not become broken in the process of love that you are building together. Earlier this morning, you heard a presentation from Reverend Casbo where he describes God's ideal for man and woman, for human beings as his son and daughter. And as an individual, you're meant to perfect yourself in God's image by uniting your mind and body, centering yourself on God and God's word. And as a result of that, you become mature as an individual. And as a mature man or woman, later on in life, you're meant to come together with another male or female counterpart, and who has also received this ideal of uniting themselves, becoming one with God, and together two God-centered individuals come together as husband and wife. And the result of this is creating a harmonious family that is centered on God. And as a result of that harmonious family in today's society, you can contribute to the ideal that God has given for the world by having your ideal family as a part of our society. and as an image that God has given in return. So in short, that's just going over the purpose of life. Now, so my purpose here today is to hopefully give you some ideas to take back home to your own congregation, your own place of worship, and in terms of how my process of preparing myself for marriage alongside with other young people within our faith has prepared themselves. And hopefully you can get some kind of points to take home with you and practice within your own place of worship. There's 3 stages. The first stage that I'm going to go through is touching upon education at home and in the church. In my family, education starts at a very young age. And every single morning at 4:30 a.m., my family wakes up me and my brothers and sisters starting at the age of 10 years old, 4:30 in the morning. And during this time is when we come together and we read God's words together. And our parents explain to us what that means in terms of how to become a God-centered child of God in today's society. So we read God's words first thing in the morning. So we prepare to open the day together with God, together as a family. And already you're rooting yourself, you're preparing yourself to face the world, face whatever situations you're going to go through, but you have God as your side within you. And because you're learning through the family and you're reading God's words together, mom and dad teaching their children, we already come to understand that we will find a big part of this, if we will find our spouse eventually through the involvement of our parents. And our parents will be an active player with a role of finding our spouse with God's blessing. And so because our parents are so active as, within our own lives as children and growing up, in this pattern, it's already ingrained in us that it just makes sense that mom and dad will help me find my future spouse. That's already in our mindset. So that's the first stage. Then the second stage, part of it, or still the first stage, so you have education at home, and next you have education in your place of worship, or Sunday school. And in Sunday school, you're learning the importance of purity and marriage through peers, your age, through leaders, through role models. Something that's always resonated with me when I go to church Sunday service or workshops are young couples. When I was 10 years old or 11 or 12, I'm looking at these young leaders, 20, 21, 22, who are married, planning to start family, but they have God as a part of their life. And you look at that example and you can tell that's what I want. So going to Sunday school, going to workshops, seeing this example as you're growing up has already told me in my mind and in my heart that that's what I want. I want one spouse. I want God to be a part of that marriage, and I want to become a husband or a mother to my children to give that same value and to my own children in the future. And through Sunday school, we also come to put together workshops where we come to understand our own faith. And these workshops are held usually during some kind of a break or so, Easter holiday, Christmas holidays, anything or any time available to really have all the kids gather and have 2 to 3 days to spend together and build up on your own faith and what it means to own that lifestyle. Now, step 2, aside from education at home and Sunday school, we have something called the One Heart program. And the One Heart program is similar to a bar mitzvah in the Jewish tradition or confirmation in the Catholic tradition. It's a 6-month program that's centered on the concept of abstinence until marriage. This takes place at 13 years old. So at 13 years old, we have this idea where instead of focusing your energy on dating, girls chasing boys, boys chasing girls, neglecting their school activities or their sports or their hobbies, the idea is taking that energy that you would spend on chasing the opposite sex to perfecting your own individual character, perfecting your own internal excellence, perfecting your own external excellence, becoming a good person, a God-centered person, and at the same time, focus your energy on building your talents that God gave you If you're an artist, focus it on that. If you're a poet, focus it on that, or an athlete, pursue that. You know, really understanding that true perfection comes within knowing God's gift to you and building your internal and external qualities centered on God during this time. So at the end of the program, parents place a ring on their child's finger to symbolize abstinence until marriage. And then, after this program is over, this symbolizes a 7-year preparation course for marriage, going from high school all the way to college. Then the third stage, stage 3, comes the 3 levels of marriage blessing education. So now we're entering an age where many people are thinking about marriage, thinking about their future spouse and what they want for themselves. The first workshop is called Ideal of Marriage. It's for children ages 16 or older. In this workshop, you learn the value of marriage. Why do you want to get married? What does being married contribute to the rest of society? How are you going to use your marriage for the sake of bettering those around you? And also, before finding the right person, you have to be the right person. Many marriages break down because we're often looking for someone to complete me, someone who can make me feel whole. But if you look at it, that concept is totally distorted, because if you're always looking for someone to complete you, it's like 2 crippled people trying to support each other throughout their whole entire married life. So you really want to become a whole and mature person, finding another whole and mature person, coming together to become holy. And that is the word that we want to use in terms of being a couple. You are a holy couple in front of God because you have maturity yourself. You have prepared yourself for this one person who has done the same. And then lastly, in this workshop, we learn the difference between love and infatuation. We learn the difference between dating in this world and what about an arranged marriage? What are the pros and cons of both? And also, we learn the difference between blessing, marriage. What does it mean to just be married? But what does it also mean to receive a blessing as a married couple? And then we talk about purity. Now, the second type of workshop is called Finding My Ideal Partner for our young people ages 18 and older. And in this workshop, it's for people or young people getting ready to find that ideal person through what's called a matching process. How many of you get so many advertisement when you pop up the internet about christiandating.com or match.com or plenty of fish? It's in a way, it's kind of difficult now because it's hard to find a good person, and that's usually why these websites are created. Now, the way this process has started is when a young person is ready and preparing themselves to receive a match, we set up a profile where we openly lay out ourselves, our qualities, what we're looking for in a partner, what we want to offer to a relationship. And that is entering the matching process. And then we inform our parents, say, Mom, Dad, you know what, it's been a long time coming, but I really feel that I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready to take care of someone else. And then you analyze yourself. Am I ready to receive a person to call my spouse? How's my faith doing? How's my character? What do I want to do with my life? Do I have anything to offer my spouse? What are we going to offer together? And also preparing your heart, not just receiving someone to love or someone to comfort you or make you feel happy, but really understanding that when you receive a spouse by your side, it's the two of you who are really going to give the best gift to your family, society, and the world. And then coming together with your parents and talking about this, actively seeking a potential spouse for yourself. And lastly, is a third workshop called Start Smart Workshop for Couples. It's for couples who are already engaged. Their parents and them have found a spouse for the both of you, and you are now in the stage where you are engaged to each other, to only both of you, as a promised brother or sister. This is where, during this stage, you are building trust with each other as a couple, a new couple, starting from the inside out. And this also talks about relationships, your relationship with each other, communication between husband and wife, and also the differences between male and female. Actually, this is my husband and I at one of those workshops in UTS in New York just a few months ago. And most importantly, this workshop talks about your first night. In our faith, we've stressed so much the importance of purity, abstinence. When you come together as a man and woman, husband and wife before God, you will come to understand that the first act of love between you and your spouse, after waiting so long and saving yourself for that one person, is truly a godly act. And that is an act that will bring together a male and a female, where you can find God in each other, and stressing the importance of that first night. And then how to lead a blessed family life from that point on, and creating an ideal year, committing to each other that for one whole year, you will give it all you've got, and making that commitment even before jumping into marriage. You're already committing yourself and offering vows to each other. Now, those are the technical things. I'm going to give you a brief story about my testimony, how I met my husband. Now, when I realized that I was ready to take care of somebody, because when you're entering into a marriage, you can't be a selfish individual, you know? Marriage is a selfless act. So when I realized that I'm ready to commit, I told my mom and dad, Mom, Dad, okay, if you find someone for me, I'm going to be ready. So I already knew that my parents would help me find that person. And of course, I had the right to say, maybe, maybe not, we'll see, we'll try it out. But my parents were with me every step of the way. And through my aunt and uncle in Boston, who's met a young man in their church congregation, they presented this man to my parents, and together they said, Kathy, would you like to meet this person? We think, you two could be very well together. And I said, okay. So we started communicating, emails, phones, and I read his matching profile, what he sees in a family, how many kids he wants, to where he lives. So everything was very transparent between the two of us. And finally, we decided to start that communication process for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, we're going to talk. If this is good, we're going to keep going. If not, it was nice. We have a friend. And these two pictures is when we first met. This is in Windsor. This is when he first came over with a gift, and this is our very first picture together with my parents. And then secondly, after the communication process has gone on for about 7 months, and we decided we're ready to commit, we have what's called an engagement ceremony or commitment ceremony, where we are officially engaged as a promise to each other. And we had this at our home in front of my younger brothers and sisters. I come from a family of 6 brothers and sisters. The youngest is a little boy, 8 years old. And they got to witness the commitment ceremony or engagement ceremony between my husband and I. And the greatest thing I could ever hear from them is they look at me and say, I want what you have. And to me, that gives me comfort, because I know that they want to include God and their family in this matching or engagement and wedding process. And then those are just a few pictures from that night. And then finally, after our commitment or engagement ceremony, we have our blessing or our marriage ceremony. This was in February. And so together, thank you, we're starting in this journey together as a married couple who has not forgotten that God has brought us together. And we're talking about safety net. And I think, mentors are wonderful. Mentors, if you can have them available at your side, that's fantastic. And I think it's going to work wonders for our community. But at the same time, look at the safety net within your own family. If you can become that parent that can give that kind of example to your children, that is the safety net they can have right from home, right from birth. And then because I saw in my parents something that I wanted for myself, my parents were my greatest testimony to why I wanted to be married, why I wanted to God have in my life. And I will pass that ideal, my husband and I will pass it on down to our children, and hopefully so on and so forth. So thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. And it was a pleasure having you.
You're awesome. You did great.
Thank you.
When's the last time you heard a 25-year-old talk like that and do that? That's very impressive. She will be talking with my daughter in years to come, that's for sure. You did great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. When's the last time you heard a 25-year-old talk like that and do that? That's very impressive. She will be talking with my daughter in years to come, that's for sure.
You did a great job,
Hey,
man.
brother. I love your personality, your
Thank
spirit.
you. Thank
See
you.
it in your eyes.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.